Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks and another match of Beyond All Reason, where today I have to admit, I know exactly how this match is going to go down. Yeah, according to the description that this was sent on over to the Discord channel, the Replay Submissions Discord channel on my Discord, link of course down below in the description. Yeah, I know exactly what's going to be happening today, but I did feel ever so slightly inclined to showcase it. If not to show off the awesome strategy, then maybe just to show off how you might defend against such a strategy. So, without further ado, spawning here is our blue team leader, and Armada commander spawning in the tech position that goes by the name of JXG. 36 open skill and hailing from Germany, going to be showing us what they've got. Today we've got the blue team going for a cheeky strategy up against the red team. The red team leader, Rory, going for that very, very popular one mex grunt spam here. This is what that looks like. You go for a mex, a solar panel, a lab, and then you go straight into pumping out grunts and resbots to fund the front line. So you have one resbot that comes out and you use it to reclaim the trees and whatnot. You can see hitting a nasty E-stall here, but as soon as this resbot starts eating up the energy, you can start pumping out more of those resbots a lot quicker. Means that this this one lab can actually come up and online extremely fast. With the second resbot out, usually we send it to the front. Looks like Rory is going to use it to reclaim some of those trees, though, to get the third resbot out, and that will probably be the one that heads towards the front. So I'm glad we see a little bit of a varied strategy here. Sometimes I like to try and cover, when I have to cover Supremismus, I feel obligated to every once in a while. When I cover Supremismus, I feel like I may as well cover a cheeky strategy, right? May as well do something outside of the norm. This is basically textbook, though, right here from Rory. Definitely an excellent playbook to copy off of here. 3 resbots into full-blown grunt spam, and you can see it times out nicely where he ran completely out of metal about as soon as that resbot got out to the midsection and is going to start being able to actually contest all this. ZZ too easy, sorry, I thought it was a Z, too easy for me, the Lavender Commander, and River Run, the Green Commander here. Is that a Doctor Who reference? I believe it is. River, yeah, or is it River Song is the Doctor Who thing? Yeah, never mind. Wrong reference there, but anyways, the Green Commander River Run, gonna be going for some of those Armada vehicles here, so too easy for me, in a lot of trouble right here. Not expecting a grunt, grunt spam push here. Bunch of grunts leaking through the front lines right now for the Lavender Commander. Are they gonna spy anything interesting? Ooh, maybe. Red Commander does slip into the backline and actually, we'll see the tank right here. Okay, so the blue team, as you may have figured out via the chat, is going for a little bit of an all-in strategy. Yeah, so all 8 commanders have committed to going ahead and going for this single strategy, saving up a bunch of units, and then using them to break the front line all in one concerted push. Obviously, this is a wonderful play, and if you can pull it off at, just the right time, sometimes you can manage to snatch a game in just a couple of minutes. Well, Grunt's moving around, though, right now. Yeah, Rory not really giving him the chance. Lovely aggression from the Red Commander. Says, hey, I don't see as many units on the front as really we should for how late into the game we are already. 3 minutes into the game. Not necessarily the latest there is, but yeah, for how early this front line is going, the Red Commander certainly must be pretty pleased. These tanks that were initially meant to be saved up are actually going to head to the front line. Does the Red Commander read this properly, though? What we should be saying is that since we've seen all of the frontline commanders and now we're seeing a different color of tank, it means that somebody on the battlefield is spamming these tanks out. This is not an insignificant amount of incisors. This is 700 metal worth of incisors, definitely enough to hamper an early game economy. If you were going for T2 or Navy or anything like that, that would be way too much. So there certainly is the potential for the red players to read this play here, try and figure out exactly what's going on. Rory going for a constructor bot here after all this time. Needs to get that resbot back up and running. So this is kind of like overclocking your CPU, right? You're running this factory at full efficiency, but as soon as that resbot runs out of reclaim in the midsection here, you run desperately low on resources. So it's really important that you make at least a constructor out of all this, get those mexes up and online, and manage to expand while you're producing units at the same time on the fronts here. SQEE Squeako? Is it Squeako? Squeako? Squeaco? The Hot Pink Commander here holding the front lines. We have the spectators apparently going ham with the drawing tool. One of my favorite parts about this game is, of course, the fact that you can draw these beautiful annotations indicating exactly how these different armies are interacting. It's the play-by-play tool. I think somebody called it the NFL play-by-play tool, which is pretty hilarious. I love that. Kind of exactly how it feels like, right? Too easy for me and River Run, both pushing in on the left-hand side. They're looking to run a blue 42. Ooh, juicy connection from a riot tank. Connects with literally every single one of those pawns, weakening them all up. It's one of those things where that unit specifically gets a lot more powerful if the enemy mismicros. You can see in total shedding thousands of HP from this army, but not actually killing a single thing. pretty funny in that sense, because it does mean that it, yeah, on paper it looks like it did virtually nothing, but as a matter of fact, actually had a wonderful effect on that army. They're going to need repairs desperately, otherwise they're going to be fighting at half strength. Riverrun gets jumped here by a bunch of grunts, and boom goes the green commander. My goodness. Incisors, ooh, thinking about moving forward. They want to try and reinforce that commander, but the damage is already done, and Rory is marching forward. This is cheeky because the red team is off to a phenomenal start, and I don't think they've read exactly why they're prevailing so hard right here. Here come the tanks, though. Do we have a time when we want to make the tanks hit? Bearing in mind that usually the T2 transition happens around the 6-minute mark, it makes a lot of sense to try and time your attack around the 6-minute mark, right when one of these commanders is going to be sacrificing, yeah, their commander over here, trying to pump out units. You can see Blue Baron right now is close to that T2 lab, should eventually be sending this commander off to be sacrificed. Meanwhile, more and more units streaming out to the front lines. One thing I wouldn't mind is maybe handing these tanks over to the commanders in the front, just so that we can see them utilized, right? You can imagine if you show all these different colors, the enemy might pick up on that, might have time to respond. If you handle these units over, though, then it'll be much harder for the enemy team to suss out the fact that there's essentially 4 commanders fighting this front line right here, with loads more production in the back line. Do we have an air player as well? Yeah, so Hung Daddy, the green commander with a ridiculous name, going to be playing as the air commander here. I think an air commander is probably necessary just for, if anything, managing to keep shurikens off the front here. You can imagine a couple of shuriken having a devastating effect on this massive ball of incisors. Oh, we're losing those tanks early, though. Yikes. Yeah, we really don't want to lose these, tanks before we have to. Looks like a, oh, was that an LLT over here? Yeah, I think an LLT blasted that down. Or was it a gunship? I don't know exactly what it was over there. Anyways, finally, Commander Corps will be cleaned up completely here from Rory. Little res shenanigans, a little bit of reclaim shenanigans, but here we go. The time has come, 6 minutes and 52 seconds, apparently, when we're going to pull the trigger right here. And now the commanders are in a lot of trouble. Ooh, catching the hot pink commander without any energy right now means the pink commander will go down. Blows up tons of those tanks, though, which is certainly a problem. Rory looking to sacrifice the commander here as well, hoping to buy as much destruction with that commander as possible. Cancels the self-D. Yeah, tanks have to be so careful. Boom goes the commander, though, and not managing to actually kill all too many of those tanks with the explosion. And now the assault units are swarming forward. Purple tanks rolling on out, and the hot pink commander is left in shambles. Just like that, the T1 wave collapses. At 7 minutes and 30 seconds, the first units hit the base right here of the hot pink commander. First mechs goes down. The build power under fire now as well, as more and more of those units head towards the main production facilities. T2 just barely escaping the lab right now. As you can see, the pink commander going for a bit of a strange build order here, not getting the geo, not building the build power around the metal extractors, leaving his team a little high and dry as far as want for T2 technology goes, and now about to be facing a complete all-in from the blue team, and I think it's worked out phenomenally. There's the pawns. The pink commander taps out of the game, actually, and hands it all over to the red commander. Rory's now in control of the T2 production facilities, starts spamming out T1 units, but I'm afraid it's a little too late. Just like that, medium tanks now into the back line. Commander in a lot of trouble here, too. Oh, a nice D-gun cleaves apart those medium tanks, which is always nice. Commander's still in a rough way, though. Yep, pawns blasting it down with every little bit of their being. And just like that, the blue team has completely collapsed on each and every side. Maroon Commander had the opportunity to go into those amphib vehicles, could have gone salamanders. I think it's time that we start talking about counters to this sort of play. I think the most obvious counter, the most fail-safe counter is just scouting, right? Making sure that you're aware of what's going on in the map, trying to read your opponent's moves as much as possible, because on a map like this, a map that everybody knows and everybody plays the same, obviously, if you play the same as everyone else, you're gonna be susceptible to this sort of cheese. A dedicated all-in meant to win the game before the 10-minute mark, and I think the blue team's pulled it off. It's obviously a risky gambit, because if you don't manage to pull it off, then you've thrown all this metal into the hands of the blue team, and believe me, I've definitely done that one too many times. Seduce your Aphis, the yellow commander, also falling here, and just like that, the medium tanks now into the backline. This Armada commander unable to really assist his team with any shuriken support here, and those T2 units are not going to be nearly fast enough to wipe up all of these medium tanks that are desperately marching towards the main base over here. At this point, though, the economy 78% ahead for the blue team and growing. You can see those constructors on the front building those metal extractors. We've got too easy for me setting up a defensive line here, despite the front line being pushed miles and miles beyond all that. The red team calls the resign vote. The blue team now firmly in control of the entire map. Very nicely done. Only the two navies will survive this bombardment, but it really only takes... Oh. Hoping for a comeback play. The Lord's commander goes for it. All right, well, D-Gun connects with the Geo, the E-Storage, and eventually the laboratory. Not bad, but does it offset the extreme cost of this entire game here? I don't think so. Cruxy trying desperately to get some sort of value his team can take advantage of. I think taking out one base will not make the difference, though, as thousands of metal lies on the field, and an excellent job the blue team has done mixing in a bunch of different techs here. So usually what we see is a lot of commanders will just go ahead and try and build all tanks. I like to see that we've actually mixed in some bots here as well. What that allows you, of course, is those res bots, and so cleaning up all the wreckages from the medium tanks, all the failed defenses, all that sort of stuff, cleaning it up with res bots makes a lot of sense, makes a lot of value out of those tanks. You get even more value because, of course, you can recycle them. And now we've ended up at a position where the blue team is miles ahead. We've got resbots here that should be working on this nearly 3.6 thousand metal. We've got more and more over here as well. The blue commander's setting up a little forward laboratory, and I'd love to see more constructors moving forward to grab these mexes as well. We do have one for the green commander stepping forward to build these mexes, and every single one of these that goes up is going to further cement the advantage right here that the blue team has. I think we're going to go ahead and skip ahead, though, because we've already seen every base ravaged here, and now we're down to just the last commanders. The orange and maroon in the water, trying desperately to hold on, find a solution here, but really there is none. Up by nearly 300%, the blue team takes the victory in this very rapid game of Beyond All Reason. Definitely a quick one, as for usual around here, or as against the norm around here. Usually 20 to 30 to 40 minutes. Definitely a quick way to end Supremacists, but I hope you enjoyed watching this very bizarre take on this beloved map. Maybe give it a go in one of your games. See if you can get your team rallied. And feel free to send the replay on over. Especially, I would love to see two of these strategies going up against each other, right? Two massive waves of tanks clashing. I think that would be pretty cool. Anyways, have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you in the very next cast, live stream, or otherwise handshake that we come across each other in. Peace out, and have a good one.